Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Here's our weekend update for Bitcoin, double checking a few key factors here. Wow, look how perfect this liquidation sweep was. Exactly hit that level of 60,600 and has since pulled back. Granted, Asian markets opened after traditional markets closed and the price pulled back as per usual. In fact, if we do kind of zoom in here, you can see pretty clear as day. The red here is the China time frame there. We can see the Asian, basically the Asian sell-off. Okay, it's not major or massive, but again, they pulled it back a good 1% there, securing some profits from last time they closed. So again, that's just kind of something to be mindful of. Anyways, just throwing it out there. This is standard stuff. Now that liquidation levels have been swept, we can expect a pullback. Now again, the pullback probably not going to come too far down. We're now above a key level support, at least in that 58 to 59K range. So we want to be mindful of that. Let's go ahead and reload our charts and kind of see where we're at for liquidation. Okay. When we talk about this, generally speaking, all the liquidation last 7 days has been satisfied. So anyone trying to short in the last 7 days pretty much got destroyed, minus those low leverage shorts, which is definitely recommended if you're going to be considering a short right now. They're up about 62,000. So we got some stop losses or liquidation there, essentially the same thing up at that level. And if we see here, majority of liquidation here, the immediate liquidation has been swept. So that 50 billion liquidation we talked about recently and semi-recently, we had like 20 to 30 billion at 59K. That's all gone. Okay. Now again, congrats to our community here, of course. Got to always throw this out there. Took some nice profits from Bitcoin, good 42%. We took a long in the 55 to 56K range. That's our average position. So again, the general consensus, and the reason why I like to mention that is because it's important to recognize that you got to secure profits whenever possible. We don't know how much higher the price could go. But from a liquidation standpoint, there's still plenty of meat left on the bone here, and we can see a lot of liquidation at 61.2 upwards of 62K. Each one of these bars is worth about 5 to 6 billion. So somewhere in the range, there's about, what, 6 or 7 bars there? Yeah, we're somewhere in the range of good 30 to 40 billion right there at the 61 to 62K mark. So just keep in mind that's definitely a potential reality. That does put us somewhere in between our current golden pocket and essentially the 0.786 fib level. So we got some liquidation up here as well. Okay, so I'll go ahead and post this, post our updated layout chart here on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, so you can kind of see those liquidation levels. But generally speaking, we have somewhere in the range of about 40 billion so far and growing right at that level. So just again, something to be mindful of. It doesn't mean the price is going to blindly continue that direction. It just tells us we have significant motivation for the price to continue higher because of that. So I would just say that in combination with the fact that we're having some bullish convergences and majority timeframes are looking pretty good for Bitcoin, it doesn't make a ton of sense to want to sell into that. Okay. Now I get the compulsion to want to short on an overextension. I totally get that. But we have a lot of momentum, and there's a lot of reasons why we'll likely see here soon that we should not consider a short position just yet. Or if you do, again, low leverage, low position size, make sure you're playing your targets correctly there so you're not overdoing it. Taking a look here at the daily time frame, we can recognize that stochastic RSI is, of course, diverging. We've seen that for a while. In fact, that was on the verge of diverging yesterday before that last little leg up. We can see here as well, we're over 50 in the RSI, very positive, extremely beneficial sign. We're over 0 on the TSI, MACD is still converging. There's every single oscillator is letting us know that we're in good shape. And we take a look at our moving averages, we can see we're over the 50-day SMA now as well. So we're actually testing that as a support. So 59.8, tentative support level for us. Again, please understand moving averages are not support levels. They're just kind of trendsetters, letting us know that we're on the right side of certain situations. Okay, being over the 20 is a very good start. Being over the 50 is even better. Now, that doesn't mean this being a weekend, having a very profitable last 24 to 48 hours, that we're not going to see the price continue to pull back a little bit. That's very likely, in fact. But the truth here is that that is a very solid support range in most cases. Let's go ahead and turn on our fair value gap here and see we do have a fair value gap between 58.6 upwards of about 59.6. Okay, so that little $1,000 range there, that's more likely to get swept this weekend. That's my guess. Now again, do you short to that level? Probably not. Doesn't make a ton of sense, but if the hourly or the 4-hour time frame shows us some divergences, perhaps it might be worthwhile. Okay? But just know that exists there. So I would say that just kind of reaffirms that resistance, previous resistance / turn support at about 58,700. Okay, so that's a good level for us. And that's once again that 0.5 fib level. We could just see a round number 59K. All right. Now if we zoom out a little bit here and kind of look at the last, what is this? This is last. Let's go from August roughly. As a close approximate as ever since August, we've seen the most amount of volume at 59,100, so 59K. So we've got a lot of confluence there, a lot of confirming factors. So while there is a fair value gap there and it could very well get swept or hit, I think there's a solid chance we see a bounce off that level and the price continues higher from there. So me personally, just thinking out loud right now, I'm looking for a long around 59K. That's just generally what I'm looking at. Again, that's a better case scenario. I am very well known for waiting for opportunities that do not happen. So please understand that may not even occur, and we may not see that. But at this point here, it may be best to expect the price to pull back a little bit. We might even be able to see an ABC pattern from here, where it might just kind of be a small guy, or we see something along those lines. Okay. Again, there's no guarantee on this. Once again, Elliott wave, folks, it's strictly hypothetical. It doesn't really, it helps you anticipate, but it doesn't, there's no foolproof specifics there. Okay, so please try not to base your TA solely on one thing. I know there are a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of community members or just other communities that I'm aware of, that's really all they use. And I think it's a unilateral perception on how to interpret the market. It's very good. Fib levels are very consistent. I use them day in and day out. In fact, we got to update our Fib levels here as well. I'll post that on our playout chart here shortly. Again, that's available on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. If you're not familiar, it looks a little something like this here, or I talk about coins that I cover and kind of get you a perspective there. Either way you look at it here, at this point, we might be at the beginning phase of an ABC pattern to the way down. If this is our top, that's a tentative top, but that could be the case. We got to see how 59,000 holds first, right? That's the general consensus. It could also work out to one of these situations where we see 59K and then a potential retest of the local point of control here, or that 56,000 range, before the price legs up. Okay, so that's a possibility. Anyways, these are strictly hypothetical scenarios there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour time frame and recognize that we are starting to taper off. The RSI is moving with the price action. Stochastics pulling back. That's very standard. Money flow index is still looking pretty good, even though we do have low volume last 24 hours, of course, since this is a weekend, and MACD is diverging. So the 4-hour doesn't give us a ton of indications of where we're at, minus the fact that we're over every single moving average. And what do you know? All moving averages are kind of pointing to this one area here at about 59,000. Now, what this basically just means is that the price action, if it comes to that level, we're going to have a lot of reasons for it to bounce off that range. Okay. Again, previous highs, local and macro point of controls, same thing as well with this fair value gap. While that fair value gap and these SMAs do work as a magnet in some cases, we're more likely to see a bounce there too. That also honors our ascending trend line too, which we want to kind of pull out here and just kind of pay closer attention to. Okay, just make sure we understand that's a distinct probability of seeing that happen. Okay. So having a look at the hourly, let's quickly confirm a couple things here and call it a day for you folks so you can get on with your weekend. Let's take a look. We can see the lagging span is soon intersect with the price action. So unless Bitcoin rallies right now, we're going to have that window of opportunity essentially closing. And what that really just implies is that you should, if you're in a long of any sort with Bitcoin, you maybe want to consider securing profits, and you might want to presume the price may continue lower. Okay. Now, at this point here, we can kind of see the lagging span is, of course, free and clear, but soon to intersect. Conversion lines over the baseline, good momentum. Obviously, you have a lot of momentum when that happens, with the price action moving up like it did. And then, of course, we got the lagging span, the cloud itself, consolidating between 59 and 59.5. So this just, again, reaffirms everything I see here is pointing to 59,000. So I think that's a very, very solid area of continuation if the price pulls back to that level. I still think it's pretty likely based on the fair value gap, as well as just how markets will tend to move on the weekend. If you have a profitable Friday, Saturdays and Sundays are usually just sell-off days. And the inverse applies as well. That's why we're seeing most altcoins pull back today, because they were very profitable yesterday. All right. So again, that's that standard, rinse and repeat of buy low, sell high, and that's what we're seeing now. All right, thanks again. Hope that makes sense. I clarified that correctly. Last but not least, make sure you check out BTCC, folks. These guys are awesome. Excellent exchange. It's a new partnership we have. Phenomenal rewards. Use my link to register. Please make sure you check them out. I'm recommending them just because a lot of community members that I have in my community, they day trade and swing trade, and they're using the same portfolio. You should always diversify that and split those two, so that way you're not pulling from the same account. Like, imagine trying to save only using a checking account. You don't put money aside, you don't forget about it, so to speak. It's still there, and you pull from that, and oftentimes you make mistakes. So just some friendly advice. Okay, thanks again so much for watching, folks. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.